I mean, that's a good, transition there. What are your thoughts on the role reversal? So the woman going out and being the breadwinner, and then the guy being like a stay-at-home dad or whatever, and taking care of the house.
I've gotten into a lot of arguments about this thing, bro, because I do a lot of reading. I study a lot of psychological studies and things. Like, I'm a kind of a bookworm and a nerd at, like, so I've came across a lot of evidence that, I'm all for women that want to, that want to go do that, bro. I don't have any problem with it. I don't have problems with women in the workplace and all that stuff. But what I will say is that studies have been done, and I encourage everybody to go look these studies up for yourself. It ain't just me, and it's been done on every political spectrum you can think of, whatever side. So it's not anything biased. This is just science in general. The evidence is out there, bro, that proves that you know, women, like this, the biological nature of men and women is, it'll never go away. So no matter how many policies or whatever we put in place to, try to level that out, bro, it'll always be there. You're not going to be able to do anything with it. So the women, they've done studies where, I think in some law, and there was a law firm in Canada, I believe, where this one psychologist, like, he did a study on them, trying to help them further their careers as lawyers. And but what happened was, a vast majority of those women, they were very smart, they were very intelligent, very hardworking, they were disagreeable or whatever, so they was able to up the rank. But when the women hit about that, I want to say 28 to 35-year-old range, they start having a family career crisis, especially with the modern women today, because they're more able to get into the job market. So when that happens, what they noticed was a lot of those women ended up dropping out of that rat race, because they didn't want to, when you try to get to the top of that, of the hierarchy where business is concerned in a career, that means you have to work longer hours. You got to do it's very competitive. You got to compete against women and men that are just as savage, if not more savage than you. So that actually is a lot of stress. And not to mention, it takes away from you having any kind of family life, because now it's hard for you to find a mate that is able to put up with that kind of, that kind of mentality you need to build your way up into a career like that. That takes a certain strength and a very disagreeable personality trait person. So those women were coming into that dilemma where that 28 to 35-year range, the options start slimming out after that. So, and women know that they have a biological marker in them because they're able to have children. So they know their clock runs out. They start having this mental battle. So a mass majority of women, even if you try to help them reach the rank, their biological nature kicks in. And a lot of them don't want to, they'd rather go have a family life and a relationship and a marriage and kids and a home, versus going and being a breadwinner and reaching the top of this company that they're at, or building a big Fortune 500 company, which is why we don't see a lot of women doing it. And if you look at Scandinavia, bro, they're the country that actually has the most gender regulated laws of everybody else on the planet. They went further than everybody else. And what they found was, whenever they did that, they forgot to assess the fact that men and women are different biologically by nature. So what happened was, they gave them all freedom to be equal, whatever, but men and women interests differed. So there was like a 20-to-1, maybe not that extreme ratio, to female nurses in the medical field versus male. And there was about the same ratio of male engineers to female engineers over there. So what happened was, they forgot to factor in, men are by nature more interested in things, and women by nature are more interested in people. So you can see the differences kind of doubled when the more neutral they made it. So people forget about biology.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. The things that interest us are a lot different. And I can't remember where I heard it or where I was reading it. I was talking about that exact same thing, about women being more interested in people. That's why you see a lot of women that get into the nursing field, the healthcare, they are better in those fields, whereas guys are more engineering and things where we can tinker with things. And so understanding the different makeup, I think that's important. And then also, when it comes to the shifting and the switching of the gender roles, where the woman is out there going and being the breadwinner, I do believe, like you said, it is a harder thing to do, because it takes an aggressive kind of personality to climb that corporate ladder. You don't see a lot of very timid, and I don't want to get in trouble with this, but I'm going to say it anyway, a lot of feminine women in those higher positions, because it's dog eat dog, and you can't just be, oh yeah, that's okay, agreeable, and all the wonderful things that guys look for in a woman, the feminine aspects. You're not going to find that in women that are career driven. And so I think in order for the role reversal, you kind of need a personality switch as well. You need a more dominant masculine woman and a more subservient, timid, I'm not going to say feminine man, but although I said masculine woman, but a less aggressive man to be a stay-at-home husband while his wife is going and taking care of business. I don't have anything against it. I was a stay-at-home dad after I got out of the Navy. Right after I got out of the Navy back in 2009, my ex-wife, she was still in the Navy. And so I was home taking care of the kids, transitioning from military life to civilian life. It was a horrible transition, didn't go any way the way I expected it. In 2009, anyone that remembers, that was right when the economy was starting to nosedive. And here I was, this ex-naval officer, expecting to transition from, hey, I was an officer in the Navy, to a big, corporate job. Did not happen. So I was unemployed for like a year and a half during that transition. And I was a stay-at-home dad, and it was terrible.
Yeah, man. I thank you for your service, though, bro. Before we continue, though, my grandpa and my uncle were both Navy men, man. Thank you for that.
No problem. I enjoyed it. It was some of the best times of my life. It was wonderful.
It takes certain people to do that kind of stuff, man. I got so much respect for dudes in the service, bro. You don't even know, man. It means a lot.
Yeah, I got stories. But yeah, like it's a different thing. And I even just in that year and a half, it was hard for me to be that stay-at-home dad because I was so used to working. But I was appreciative and thankful, for my ex-wife, that she carried the mantle. She didn't skip a beat and everything like that, and she was grinding and stuff. So for a guy to do it long term, I think it's counter to our nature. And it happens at times, and there are some women out there that are strong enough to carry that load, and that's what you want. You want someone that you can, depend on. But I don't think that I don't think it'll ever become a normal thing where more men are becoming stay-at-home husbands and fathers, and more women are just running the show, because it's not our nature.
Right. Well, it'll never be a good long-term solution, because nature will kick in, and then that's when resentment, depression, anxiety, and your relationship will just pretty much fall apart over the years after that, because you're trying to fight your nature, and that takes a real toll on a human being. But also, let's go back a little bit into this point, bro. When you talk about the whole what it takes, when I said what it takes to get to the top of these careers and to build these big businesses, feminine and masculine, those are actually scientific terms, so I don't mind using them, because I don't feel they're derogatory, just me personally, but I'll use it. So this is the problem we're running into, though, man. People don't the science literature is out there, and psychology especially, bro, what it tells us on the extreme end of the spectrum, in the studies being done and the evidence, all agreeable people are women. All disagreeable people are men at the extremes. So there's overlap in between that. You get a little flip flop. But when it comes to being in the hierarchy, which is a place that has people on the top, in the middle, and at the bottom, that's what that is. And we, human beings, we move in and out of that. So it's a status thing. So when you're diving into that and you want a future, you want to build a career or a business, disagreeableness is that's why you see mostly men at the top of these big companies, and you don't see a whole lot of women doing it, bro, because like by nature, personality trait, psychologically, women are way more agreeable than men, so they don't advance the way a man would, because men aren't going to put up with certain treatment. They're not going to put up with not asking their boss for a raise. They'll go do it, and if you don't give it to them, they'll leave and go somewhere that will. So they have a lot more leeway with that. Not to mention men, they're very competitive and aggressive.